Hello, Councilman Moreno. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. My name is Hassan Tanwala, and I am currently a Master of Public Health student at Texas Tech University's Health Sciences Center. Today, I want to talk to you about a very important issue that affects all of Texas and especially Dallas, and that is heat related deaths. I don't need to tell you that Texas is getting hot. And this summer, as you may have noticed, we've been hitting record high temperatures. And what I want to talk to you about is what the adverse effects of these record high temperatures can be. And that is namely heat related illnesses and heat related deaths. Because of climate change, the weather is just getting hotter and hotter, and it increases both the heat waves and likelihood of heat strokes and heat related illnesses that happen. The policy problem that I want to talk to you today specifically about is about cooling centers. A cooling center is a facility that people who are homeless or may not have sufficient air conditioning can go to make sure that they can cool down and they can hydrate. This can help people avoid all of the dangerous effects of heat strokes, heat deaths. And specifically, I want to talk to you about having more cooling centers in the Love Field area. As you can see on this graph that I've shared with you guys, Texas leads the nation in heat related deaths. Now, this is bound to just continue to increase as the climate gets warmer. Recently, we have seen record high temperatures and multiple extreme heat warnings. And according to the state climatologist, by 2036, the number of 100-degree days is expected to nearly double. This is an indication of just how dire and urgent this situation is. Because as the climate increases and as it gets warmer, it will not only be hotter, but it will also be hotter longer. And then, according to United Way, while overall homelessness is on the decline, chronic homelessness and return to homelessness has increased. These are populations that are especially susceptible to heat related illnesses such as heat stroke and suffer from death because of heat related illnesses. Now, here is why I am bringing up this policy problem of cooling centers specifically to you. And here's why I think that Love Field could benefit. A report by the CDC shows that cooling centers can reduce mortality by up to 66%. This means that 2 out of every 3 heat related deaths can be prevented if a person has a cooling center accessible to them. Additionally, Parkland Memorial Hospital, which is the Dallas County hospital, is located in District 2. And for many of the people who aren't able to access a cooling center or have somewhere to take shelter, they end up going to the emergency room. This causes an undue burden on the emergency room, which is already one of the busiest emergency rooms in the country. A cooling center would help ease the burden on the emergency room, plus be better for the taxpayers because going to the emergency room is a much more expensive systemic cost versus having the preventative measure of a cooling center. Based off my findings, I think that there are 4 viable policy options that I wanted to present to you today. The first policy option would be to use an existing business as a cooling center. The advantages of this option is that it would be faster, it would be cheaper because the government would not need to have a significant increase to their budget, and it could also be implemented sooner. Also, it could help with decreasing some of those heat related deaths. Now, the disadvantages and the drawbacks would be trying to find businesses to partner with, and it may not be as easily available or in the best location possible. The second option would be to build a full new cooling center specifically designed for that. Now, the advantage of that is that it will be much more robust and be able to meet the needs of more people in the community. And it can be through the Parks and Recreation Department, who already handled some of those things. So we can make sure that we have the experts in establishing this. Now, the disadvantages, obviously, first would be the cost of it, because it would involve a significant increase or divergence in the budget. And then, as well, it would take more time. And that means that in the meantime, it could increase the severity of heat related illnesses for the Love Field population. The third option would be to build a smaller cooling center specifically for the people who are chronically homeless. Now, as I mentioned before, chronic homelessness is on the rise in Dallas, according to United Way. So, the benefits of this is that it could help the people who are most likely in need of it, and it can help prevent some of those severe heat related events. The downside would be that it would serve a smaller population rather than be robust for the entire community. And then the last option would be to maintain the status quo and essentially not build anything new. The advantages of this, obviously, first is that there are no significant additional costs. And this can mean that rather than building something new, the city council can invest more in the current recreational centers and the cooling centers that are available in other parts of the city. The downside is that the people of Love Field may not necessarily have their needs met. This may also mean that Parkland continues to experience increase number of people who seek their services. In conclusion, my recommendation is policy option 2, to build a new cooling center. While this is the most expensive solution, it is also the most robust and will be able to serve the largest number of people. As I mentioned, the effects of climate change are continuing to worsen, which means that the other options, while they may suffice the needs right now, they will not suffice the needs of Love Field and the larger Dallas community 15 or 20 years down the line. Moreover, this cooling center can later have the potential to be adapted as also a warming center, because as we saw last February, the effects of climate change affect not only the heat, but also the cold times of the year. And so having a center specifically designed can help the most people. It can help decrease heat related deaths and illnesses, and it can help Love Field serve its community. Thank you again, Councilman Moreno, for taking the time to speak with me.